So good morning, folks. This is the wide view of the continental U.S. with wind station plots and a radar overlaid here in the counties. Of course, it's kind of busy, right? But I wanted to put this on here to show y'all what the wind directions are and where the moisture is. Good morning. My name is Tim Ayler, meteorologist. Welcome to my channel. I hope y'all are having a good day and that you're staying safe out there. I know it's a highly impactful event ongoing this morning, so I may not have time to watch this. You may be out of not have power, and you won't see this, of course. But anyway, I hope you get something out of this. Like and subscribe to my video here. It helps get on the YouTube algorithm here. I also have added some donation links to my channel. I put a lot of time into this, and I appreciate your support. Eventually, if I get enough views and watch time, I can use the super chat, things like that. But anyway, let's get started here with some analysis and current hazards, and then go through a discussion about the models and what the future holds for the continental U.S. So we got a lot going on this morning. I just talked about the wind directions, the cold temperatures here, but this is the radar picture showing the expansive snow shield going way up in Chicago here. This may not be reaching the ground, but all the way up into the Northeast as well, central Pennsylvania. Just look how much expansive this is. This is amazingly crazy, I guess you could say. Freezing rain to the south here in parts of South Carolina. And this is an algorithm that determines it based on thermal profile and temperature. So this may not be entirely accurate. However, it's pretty good here. You have a thin line of sleet here, which could be heavy, right? And what I tried to do is bring up some has cams here. This looks like heavy sleet going on in Newport, Arkansas right now. 12 degrees. That's crazy. Doesn't look like snow does. It looks like sleet. I can't listen to the audio, so pretty crazy here. In the northeast Georgia, as expected, some sleet, freezing rain, even into Atlanta here, but no precipitation in central Georgia, right? And on the eastern side of this, we have heavy rain, right? And we have excessive rainfall outlook associated with that as well. Right here, we can bring that up. Let's look at it real quick. So we take the radar off. Excessive rainfall possible here. Slight risk of exceeding flooding criteria within 25 miles of a point in this area. So go back to the radar, take that off, and there we go. So, and I have these different cameras up here for Dahlonega, Georgia. You can see how it's frozen. The camera's like frozen over below freezing up in Dahlonega. South Whitehall Township, PA, 8 degrees. There's some light snowfall in here. The atmosphere is trying to moisten up here, so it'll likely increase in intensity as the day goes on. All right, winds out of the northeast here. Dixon, Tennessee. Looks like freezing rain. Look on top of snow here, so very impactful. Nobody on the road this morning. This is Rock County, Rock Comfort, Missouri, 76 Cafe. Heavy snow, high winds here, just brutal conditions here. And in Gage, Kentucky, looks like snow, blowing snow, 12 degrees Fahrenheit, northerly wind here, so incredibly cold and snowy here. So here are the current hazards. We have just so much stuff on the map here. It's almost impossible to see it all, right? Winter storm warnings, extreme cold warnings here in the southern tier of the U.S. Ice storm warnings, parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, just almost too much to name here. All even down to southern Texas, winter storm warning here. out west into Mexico, New Mexico, winter storm warning, winter weather advisories, cold weather advisories. And further to the north here, we have cold weather advisories, extreme cold warnings in northern Minnesota, North Dakota, and parts of Montana. All right. And up in the northeast, we have cold weather advisories as well. And all along the southern edge of this ice storm warning in Georgia, we have winter weather advisories. All right. And just a plethora of things going on this morning. Just unbelievable here. So, for some reason, this map doesn't show everything sometimes. So, I'm going to switch over to another map here to go over what's on there as well. I've yet to find a place where the everything is all easily plotted out for us here. So this is another look at it, right? So winter storm warnings in the orange, like pinkish color. Ice storm warnings in the maroon color. Winter weather advisory here in the I guess you would say purple. Uh, Freeze warning for southern Texas, along with freeze watch. And see, these products are different, and they don't display on here where they have like cold weather things like that. They haven't updated this, so I may email them about this. But anyway, cold weather is expected pretty much everywhere here, east of the Rockies. Okay, and some even wind advisories, high wind warnings, things like that. So yeah, and you see how weatherwise didn't have these winter storm warnings all the way up north here. This was just updated recently. So yeah, you get the idea of what's going on here. So here's the current temperature for our location here, where I live in Middle Georgia. We've already hit our low for today. It looks like um, it's 38 now. It was 37 about a few minutes ago. So maybe hovering around this. We already have winds out of the east northeast. So that tells me the winds are slowly shifting around to more southerly at the surface. So um, eventually we'll start seeing it warm up here. How quick it warms up is hard to say at this point, but we'll keep an eye on it. So for today, it's going to get above freezing. Looks like at some point here in most of Georgia, um, right, as the warm nose pushes to the north here. But overall, just a nasty day, overcast. You see how warm temps are pushing further north here. I won't be surprised if for these temperatures get warmer than forecast, but we'll see, at least in middle Georgia here. Now, overnight tonight, it's going to get below freezing, especially up to the north here. Any moisture that's on the surfaces will refreeze, so be mindful of that. Even in central Georgia, the middle 20s here, and with rain exiting the area. Okay, so and the rain will exit and then it'll cool off, so don't be worried about that. Tomorrow going to be brutally cold here. Not getting above freezing in North Georgia. Low 40s here in central Georgia and low 50s in southern Georgia, which is way below normal. So for the Atlanta area in general and for Georgia, the highest ice amounts are going to be in the Blairsville area up here in northeast Georgia, even Athens up to a half inch, Atlanta between 0 and a quarter inch. Nothing expected here in Macon, although it's gotten colder. It's not supposed to get to freezing here today, so that's good news. But up in the northeast in the Greenville Spartanburg area, uh, northeastern and northwestern, excuse me, South Carolina and points northward, travel is going to be just about impossible today. So let's keep that in mind here. So here are the key messages of the winter storm as we continue to track this to the northeast. And this includes the snowfall graphic and the ice graphic I just showed you. Freezing rain, catastrophic ice accumulation, widespread heavy snow, nearing 2 feet in parts of interior northeastern New England, which could impact a lot of people here. There's about 190 million Americans being impacted. Bitterly cold temperatures will follow, which won't allow people to recover from whatever um, is going on here. And this graphic does not include ice prior to 4 a.m. Eastern today. So we already have ice accumulations here that are impacting people. So this graphic doesn't include that. Yeah, and so this is the key messages for late January extreme cold. This was updated yesterday afternoon, be updated later today, probably again. The highest risk of extreme cold, and we'll talk about that in the the 3 to 4, let's see, the short term 3 to 7 day hazards outlook. Wind chills may fall to -50 still in the northern part of the country here, and we still have this moderate risk and slight risk surrounding it for hazardous cold, the February 1st to the 7th here. So this is going to be a long duration event, maybe warming up towards the end of the period though. So this is day 3 to 7 U.S. hazards outlook, highlighting this hazardous cold pushing along the eastern seaboard and northeast. You can see the dates here, 27th to the 30th into Florida, right along the east coast, mid-Atlantic, and northeast, and points to the west here, the 27th, right? Northern Alaska, high winds and potentially heavy precip in southern Alaska as well, the 27th to the 31st here. So I show this graphic every day. This is a 15-day temperature outlook using the European ensemble, right? 50 members, and this is the average temperature it depicts each day, right, for highs and lows. So I want to stop saying here all the time. I know that's annoying. I'm trying to stop doing it, but it's difficult. So be patient with me here. So this model is predicting 60s for highs today. You can see further out with this 40s, 50s, and maybe getting back up to 60 towards the end, but a string of days below freezing. So, from the 26th to at least the 4th here, all below normal temperatures predicted here. So, we get further out in time, the model consistency gets less certain here, and the wide range of temperatures could happen here. But in the short term, even up to the beginning of February, it's going to be below normal in the 40s for a good string of days here. So let's be mindful that it's not going to be very comfortable out there. Uh, Yikes. Even on Saturday, a high of 40, low of 25, probably the coldest day during this period. So this is the probabilistic precipitation portal. Helps us visualize potential snow, freezing rain accumulations here, right? Uh, this is through Wednesday, but most of the precip is going to fall like through, this is a 24-hour period, through Tuesday, and then through Wednesday. And even in the Great Lakes, we're still going to be getting some, this is a 24-hour period down here. So anyway, through Wednesday, Tuesday night, expecting the potential for 25 inches of snow into parts of New York here. Interesting, it's right, this bullseye here, right? And down towards New York City, we're going to be on the border here of more heavier amounts. White Plains expect to be between 12 and 16 inches probably. Boston, expectation is 25 inches here. That's crazy. So the 24-hour period from now till then, expecting almost 20 inches of snow here. And go over the model guidance with this. You can see the highest amounts are projected, likely because surface flow is really going to get going out here, right? And why there's this boundary here is because there could be some sleet and freezing rain mixing in here as well. So, and parts of northern Maryland here, West Virginia as well, and parts of New York maybe getting in on it also. So this graphic was just updated to go through 12Z on Wednesday, which means Wednesday morning here. So still expecting 20, 30 inches, possibly, that's crazy. So let's see the high end amount. 30 inches possibly in the Boston area. Just insane amounts possible here. And you see the table down here, right? White Plains, New York, between, I don't know, 12 and 16 here, likely closer to 14, but it really depends on where that freezing rain and freezing precip line sets up here. So through Monday, these are the highest totals, right? And you see it moves to the northeast here. And you have some more snow in the Colorado. And you go through that time with this, you see how the totals move to the north here. Then the lake effect snow machine starts to kick in here, and potential is here for snow in the Watertown area as well, Lake Ontario, Lake Erie, Lake Michigan, Lake Superior here. So you'll be mindful of that as well. So this is the icing graphic through Wednesday, right? Shows not official National Weather Service icing graphics through Tuesday night, really to Wednesday morning, right? So yeah, so down here into Mississippi, just to the west of Tupelo, the expected amount between now and Wednesday is almost an inch here. North Georgia, Northeast Georgia, 3/4 of an inch, and surrounding areas here. Quite a sharp cutoff as you get further south here, even into northern and northwestern North Carolina, South Carolina, and western North Carolina, all the way up into Tennessee, parts of Tennessee here, Murfreesboro, Nashville, a half an inch here. So if we go through today, let's refresh this, get some new data. Yay. All right. Go back to the ice. So this is through Wednesday at 12Z now. Okay. So there we go. You see how it's kind of changed a little bit. But if you switch to this graphic, this is through Monday, right? So the official forecast, this is 72 hours now, right? The official forecast has come down a little bit for northern Georgia. Still impactful. Half inch of ice is still impactful here. About the same in Mississippi, right? Um, so, and here are the probabilities of these highest amounts. A 1/4 inch here, nearing 100%. Parts of Virginia, parts of North Carolina, South Carolina here, Richmond, Lake Gaston, and those areas, and parts of Tennessee near Nashville, etc. Go to half an inch probabilities. A little bit lower here, but quite high, 50, 60, 70%. And then you get to the 3/4 of an inch, 06Z Sunday, 06Z Monday. So yeah, this graphic highlights the possibility here, even a 1 inch or more. So we've already had some ice accumulation here, so let's go back to the regular graphic of expected amount. Anyway, you get the idea here, where the highest ice accumulations are going to be. And we go through Wednesday, nothing expected after Tuesday, right? 24-hour period here. So you get the idea what we're talking about and the biggest impacts and where they're going to be through Monday and Tuesday here. So be safe out there with this, guys. So what's expected for today when we look at the current radar, right? So we have ongoing snow up on the northern part of the U.S. Sleet in between there and down into parts of the South Carolina, North Carolina, and freezing rain into Georgia, and rain pushing all the way up into Tennessee and those areas, right? And as we move through time here with this, the precipitation shield really intensified, moves far to the north here. And you can see the highest snowfall rates are right along this boundary where the freezing rain sleet line is, right? And we move through time with this, it looks like most of the sleet is going to be in this narrow band here, bisecting the New York area, northern New Jersey, things like that. So, and freezing rain on the backside of this, it looks like here. So, now that we're going to zoom into the eastern U.S. here, so and this snow shield zoomed in here, sleet, freezing rain, strong convective line gets going here, and the frozen precip kind of tapers off here ahead of that. Then we have some more intense frozen precip, at least according to this model, maybe some thunder snow, thunder freezing rain here. But that the heavy band of snow really is like northern New Jersey, just offshore here, just south of New York City, and parts of Pennsylvania here. Eastern Pennsylvania is right on the edge of this. This heavy band pushed farther to the north here with these heavy convective elements. It's crazy, this convection here. Let's look at the reflectivity here. It's pretty intense banding features going on, right? Even into this colder air mass. So very dynamic system here. Okay. So, and we can look at lightning associated with this, right? So it's interesting to see this because I wonder if we'll get some thunder snow in these areas with the intense convective bands. And here into parts of Alabama, even more possibility here of lightning. We move through time with this, it becomes less, but not zero. But you see in the periphery of this where we could have lightning today with these these convective elements. So very interesting scenario here. And here are the projected surface temperatures as we go through the day today. Generally warming up, and you can see the HRR wants to bring this, see the warm front is here, okay? Like I said in my severe discussion, where this sets up, the warm front, just to the south of it, convective elements can latch on that warm front. And if they stay on that warm front, the south, the warm portion of it, they could be potentially very dangerous. So it's not going to last very long, but right along where that helicity is in here, you see how cold it is up here, below freezing maintained, even up into mid-Atlantic, all along where the CAD wedge is here. So the wedge kind of erodes a little bit, maybe it warms up briefly above freezing here as we get towards the end of this run. Now if we go back to the radar here, you can see this is where it starts moving out, right? And we have the really heavy snow right offshore here, and that's likely why the heaviest snow totals in these areas. But let's zoom in a little bit further here to the metro area of the Northeast. So to start with, this is 15Z this afternoon, right? So beginning of this, we have freezing rain ongoing. We talked about this in the Northeast here. Snow, maybe some heavy snow at the onset here. Freezing rain, sleet moving into the, I keep getting these mixed up. Moving to the north here, right? And this is 3 p.m., okay? 4 p.m. It looks like maybe in Washington, D.C., we might get into this, get rain here, but there's a distinct boundary here. Freezing rain all the way down into North Carolina, Virginia, with those intense bands, okay? Just an intense band of sleet here. We could have sleet accumulations really high in this area. It's just incredible the amount of forcing that's going on. Excuse me, right? And because of that, it's just incredible. But it can eliminate, it could, of course, it'll make snowfall totals last year. So, but I think for the metro area, like even Philadelphia, will likely be um, sleet or freezing rain. Into most of Maryland um, here in Virginia, well, Western Maryland, okay, Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, mostly freezing rain or sleet towards the end of this, and then finally it's out of here Sunday night, right? We still have some leftover precip ongoing here. Let me see if the 11Z run is finished yet. Pretty much shows the same thing here. So I'm going to zoom in one more time to, if I can, even further into the northeast. So snow will be moving into the northeast. Of course, we know that. Heavy snow on the north side of this, right? Right along where the sleet, I keep saying freezing rain for some reason, sleet is here. That area is just, wherever this sets up, we're going to have heavy snow and heavy sleet, all right? So we look at the cloud reflectivity. You see what I'm talking about here, these convective elements. A lot of rising motion here. So pretty incredible here. And there's a P-type in cloud, right? So incredibly challenging forecast. Yep, so I know I've done a lot of talking today, so hope you all get some out of this here. And I hope you all have a good day. And I'm going to close with this and say, please be safe out there, and God bless. So I thought I'd go over this graphic with the power outages, right? And this is the zoomed out graphic, excuse me, from the different states here. So if you hover over New Mexico, then you go Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, all the different states, right? So we go to New Mexico, customers out. You see this here. Um, total customers out, 12,945. So not a huge percentage, but yeah, so maybe this is useful. I don't know, but I think y'all be interested in this. Let me zoom back out here. I need to make this bigger. Anyway, power outages, right? This is a better look at it, okay? Pretty much into parts of Texas. You see the highest outage counts here. Texas into parts of Louisiana. This is a very busy map, and um, the boundaries aren't that well defined, but you see the reds and yellows where the most power outages are, and I expect that total to increase here. So outage percent for this county is 50, almost 60%. So you can see how impactful this is ongoing here. A lot of power outages and smaller ones in different counties as well. So even out west here in New Mexico. So moving on to the severe weather possibilities for today. Unfortunately, there is a severe weather possible, mainly along the Gulf Coast of Florida, into parts of southern Alabama, southwest Georgia, into central Georgia with a marginal risk, and then possibly some thunderstorms further to the north here as well, but not expected to be severe. wherever the warm front sets up is likely where we could have the most impactful severe weather in form of tornadoes, right? But the wind threat is the highest. What's driving this slight risk here with the 5% wind risk further to the north here. A little more uncertainty how far north these warm temps are going to get. Tornado, we got 5% here in this area where the slight risk is for the winds, and 2% further to the north, generally just north of on the Long Lake in Georgia, all the way down toward the New Orleans area and into parts of northern Florida, right? And parts of south and southeast Georgia, Lyons, Blackshear, and those areas. So we'll go over that as well in my video today. So let's talk about severe weather here, guys. I hate to, given everything else that's going on, but so this is an AM nest, right? Let's switch to HRR, triple R here real quickly. So you have your cold air, and then we're starting off. Let's see, what time is this? Let's go 10Z. So this goes 18 hours out. You see dew point temperatures already pushing in the 60s, 50s, 40s, all the way up into northern Alabama here, according to this model, right? I think it estimates the current temperatures pretty well here in the south. Winds become more southerly, southeasterly, and you have what looks like a couple different surface lows along the cold front, some just low pressure areas. I'm not sure what's going on here, but you see that? So you see the warmest temps pushing up into middle Georgia here, okay? And along is generally where the coldest air, the cold front's back here, it's lagging a little bit, but the warmest temps pushing up into middle Georgia, right? And kind of getting cut off here as you go further in time, right? So I can't take a sounding from this, but you can only make out some flow veering, like coming from this way with looks like just a little, I don't know. Anyway, you see the low level winds, and then you have the winds to the south here, and then you have winds to the west here. So we could have a little disturbance moving along the line here, right? So what does that look like as far as the radar goes? So this is generally, and this is initialized 10Z. This is valid 20Z Sunday, January 25th. With Eastern time, that's 8 p.m., so that's around 4 p.m., right? A line of pretty strong storms moving through central Georgia, southwest Georgia into southern Florida. You see the little helicity swaths here on the line and how intense these line segments are. And that continues and it moves through central Georgia, southwest Georgia, and parts of the Florida Peninsula. You see these updraft helicity swaths in the circle areas, potential circulations embedded within the line here. That continues as we go through time, right? Pretty intense line even up into North Georgia here, and South Carolina and things like that. So, and then the line just kind of falls apart as it loses its support at the low levels here. So, going back, 19Z, which is 7 p.m. 8 p.m., 9 p.m., Zulu. So we're talking 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is one model depiction of it. We switch to the NAM nest. So it's a little bit more delayed with this, and it has a kind of a more broken line of convection here moving through, but still could be intense. All right, so yeah, so I mean, when you compare this, and the HRR, I like to rely on for the short term, right? So pretty intense line segments here of trafficicity. Even it looks like we have some. Let me take a sounding for Middle Georgia here. Wish I could for the HRR. Maybe I'll do that on a different model, but anyway, that's part of the analysis here, right? And so depending how far north the warm temps get, and right along where a warm front could potentially set up, which is right in this area, is where I think we get the highest salinity values. So we're gonna have to see where the warm front sits up as well. So one of the things we look at with severe weather is three cape, right? And this gives a good idea of the energy in the lowest levels. And you see the three cape here, especially into southwest Georgia and northern Florida, is in the hundreds, and even values in the 50s and 60s are indicative of a pretty unstable environment at low levels, right? So that's very important to look at here with this. So there's a sharp cutoff here, but wherever that sets up, in this model depicting that it's going to go pretty far north into central Georgia, so the threat for severe weather exists here. Supercells are not out of the question here, especially further to the south uh, as we get into the deeper moisture, right, and the warmer temps. But anywhere in this green and yellow area, and maybe this red area here as well, is where you could have some potential embedded line segments or supercell develop here. I don't think it'll be going to be widespread, but the potential does exist here. I hate to say this too, but the potential for significant tornadoes exists. Unfortunately, we moved through time with this all the way parts of Alabama and into Georgia, right? And for central Georgia, right on the north end of this, but there's going to be a sharp cutoff here. But you can see anywhere in the green and yellow here is a potential for significant tornadoes. It's not high, but potential does exist here. Another thing you can look at with this is updraft helicity swaths as this system moves through, and you can see where they are. So updraft helicity is an important indicator for updrafts and where you can put that potential rotations in the line here. So the potential exists here, especially in the green here, where the updraft helicity gets pretty high. So not extensive by any means, but it's there nonetheless, and it's something to watch out for. I know I've talked this to death, but I wanted to review it in as much detail as possible here. So this is a 3 kilometer storm relative helicity plot, right, along with CAPE, right? So the CAPE meaning the convective available potential energy here, right? Not a lot of CAPE to work with here, but enough in this environment to get rotating updrafts. You see helicity values here are incredible. 400 meters squared per second squared, which is in the moderate to high threat range in the red here. So it's less down here. The vorticity is the highest right in central Georgia here along this boundary. So, and that's probably where the warm front is, right? I'm not sure if this is 3 Cape or not, but let's switch to the mean layer Cape values. Yeah, so this is, it's not, it's 3 Cape, I think. So, you know, wherever this Cape sets up at the surface where we get instability, enough surface-based Cape, we could have rotating updrafts, okay? Yeah, also the parameters are 0 to 1 kilometer helicity are off the charts here. And then northern part of this area, parts of central Georgia, you know, it's just incredible here. Running like 440, 450 meters squared per second squared. And your Cape, 3 Cape, it's pretty high as well, high enough. You have 3 Cape at 50 joules per kilogram. You have the potential for severe storms here. You see it increases even more here. Let's bring this up with the helicity values. So we're really going to have to keep an eye on this, guys. There's a lot of data here. I sifted through it. Now I want to go to a sounding here. This is the NAM. It doesn't really, I'm just going to take a sounding from this area here. See what it looks like. And it's going to bring up a winter sounding. It takes a minute to process this sometimes. I'm sure this site is being used pretty heavily here. So generate new sounding with a severe profile. You see the hodograph, pretty impressive here. Low level shear, pretty incredible. You have temperatures warm enough. You have some corruption here in the rainfall, but you see the helicity here, 290 0 to 3 kilometer helicity, 300 meters squared per second squared. Cape, you know, not high, but still high enough. And, you know, like I said, we get some surface-based convection going on. We could get some tornadoes here, although the threat is higher for high winds. So I'm just wanting to give you an idea about this. Not a lot of instability in atmosphere, but in this, for this time of year, it might be enough to get us some severe weather, unfortunately. So lastly, this is the surface wind gust as modeled by the HRR. I wouldn't take this to the bank, you know, where you have updrafts and tornadoes. Obviously, you're going to have higher winds, but as this system moves through, you have the potential for high winds with any thunderstorms that move through here, right? So with a lot of energy in the atmosphere, we got to keep that in mind today as well. When looking at the risk of heavy precip here, not seeing much on the map. This is the day 8 to 14 hazards. Slight risk of heavy rainfall here in southern Alaska. That's about it. Risk of heavy snow is not appearing on this map either, but although there is potential in this period to have some snow in the southern U.S., we're just going to have to pay attention to that in the coming days. Winds, slight risk of high winds here into southern Alaska. And here's what we're talking about, the high risk of cold temperatures and the different dates here. So the wide ranging, the 1st through the 4th, and this is valid February 1st through the 7th, right? So you see where the coldest temps are projected to be, even in southern Florida, through the extended range here. So this graphic is a 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, January 30th through the 3rd, 2026, issued yesterday. And this shows what we've been talking about, the cold air and the certainty of the cold air and where it's going to be here in the eastern U.S. and parts of the central U.S. with some near normal temps pushing into the high plains here in the central plains. So That's going to be a welcome relief, right? With near normal being cold, but not as cold as it had been. Maybe near normal up here in the far northern New England, near normal to above in southern Alaska, above in Hawaii, and below the near normal Aleutian Island chain. When we look at precip, let me refresh this, make sure I have the latest, right? You see where for a good portion of the U.S., below normal precip chances. Southern tier of the U.S. above and near normal to above in the northwest part of the U.S. here. Alaska, depending where you're at, below near normal or above, and above to below to the near normal, depending on where you're at. The Big Island looks like to be split here, and above the near normal precip chances in the Aleutian Island chain. Moving on to the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, February 1st to the 7th. Below normal temperatures are looking to continue here with more certainty in the darker blues here. Warmer than normal temperatures are now pushing into the northern to the U.S., and there may be areas that are very cold right now. It's near normal in the central U.S. here. Near normal to above normal in Hawaii, Alaska here, Hawaii, and near normal to above on Aleutian Islands. Precip looking to be below normal for a good portion of the U.S. The 1st to the 7th here. Near normal to above in the southern tier. Out west here, potentially near normal, and extreme northern U.S. Near normal to above, depending on where you're at in Alaska, Hawaii, and Aleutian Island chain, near normal to above here. So the 3 to 4 temperature outlook looks to continue the below normal temps for the East Coast, maybe equal chances to near normal in the central U.S. and above normal out west continues here. This is generally the 7th through the 20th, right? And below to equal to above chances of above normal temps in southern Alaska, Hawaii, and above to equal chances in the Aleutian Island chain. Now look at precip here. Not a lot of certainty in the continental U.S., except for maybe the northwestern part of the U.S. Hawaii looks to be trending above normal. Precip chances equal to above on Alaska, and equal chances in the Aleutian Island chain. So as we go through the day today, we're going to continue to monitor everything, and we already see some convection firing here in southern Alabama. So I would expect that to move eastward here in the coming hours. And the southerly flow is already being established ahead of this, so we'll see what happens. I hope you all are safe out there today, and God bless.